uh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. Yeah, if anybody is seeing this, we're streaming on Zoom. It's going on Facebook. If you come across this later, you can become like a follower or something. Then I can message you. You'll get a message that we're live. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. It's a bit of an experiment. I'm still not feeling very good, so I don't know how long I'll stay on. Yeah. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. I can't tell who's here because nobody's on the Zoom. I see one person is over. And one person is on Facebook. Krishna, Krishna, Shama Sundari. Can you see me as Shama Sundari? Is this working? Let's see, I'll check it myself. Yeah, it's working. Yeah. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. All right, so I just let's see, I'll do like this. Okay, we can see you. Okay, I can see you and chant with you. Okay, good. Yeah. All right, so good. All right, so yeah, it's working from the Zoom. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You know, I think I'll respond to this. Somebody tagged me. It was River tagged me on this lady who devotee, who is her struggle. I didn't read it yet, but her struggle to maintain a relationship with Prabhupada and not be deviated by people, other gurus. You know, I think a lot of us have been through that. I've been through that, and it can be a struggle. So I have to change the. Okay. Your default is changed to speaker Samsung. Okay, yeah, good. That's good. Yeah, you know, so anyway, it's a mess to get through this Maya. No, what's going on? Okay, to get through this Maya, it's kind of messy. So that's why we talk about the Putana demon, because Putana represents the false acharya. So if you notice, she has that characteristics. You know, she looks like a devotee. You know, like devotees, they wear their dhotis and their sannyas uniforms, and they are voted in as acharyas after Prabhupada left, and so they put on that thing. But a lot of people have had problems, especially. Well, most actually have had problems. They had to get rid of a lot of people. Because a lot of people lose faith after a while. You know, they don't feel like they're getting the shelter. And some people, you know, a lot of them were devotees of Prabhupada, so they knew better. They knew that these persons were just imitators, so they got rid of them and then put this show on for 50 years. So I think that's nice. This lady goes around and testifies like that. And how, I mean, you know, it's something I did also. But I think we can go deeper in understanding what is the essence. It's not like you just only, you know, you have faith in Prabhupada, and then you reject all these false acharyas, false spiritual masters that are not on the same platform. It's like all or nothing. But you know, if you find somebody that's in the real line, they'll continue the teaching, and that's the secret. Continue the teaching. If anything, you should be able to understand Prabhupada better. Even, I mean, that's a good way to do it. You can, I mean, that's what I hear from persons that have been studying Prabhupada's books for 25, 40 years. That they can understand Prabhupada and his intention, where it's all going, and Krishna consciousness better. So that's not bad. Yeah. But if you're with a guru for 50 years and you can't get off the Vaidhi platform, and you just your whole life you're just doing rules, regulations, and ceremonies, and they say that's Krishna consciousness, well, it's not very deep. You know, you're just with devotees who are putting on a show. Right? So the idea is to increase one's Krishna consciousness, to go deeper. See, so in our line, the real line, if you're going to have Shiksha, you should, you know, your Shiksha guru should be on the same platform as your Diksha guru. If you're fortunate to have connection with Prabhupada, then if you're going to move on, you need Shiksha guru that's on the same platform, liberated soul. Otherwise, they're not really Shiksha guru. It's just they're on the same platform as yourself. Yeah, more or less. Yeah, it's ridiculous. People are putting on a show. If you notice, that's why I say I'm teaching Caitanya Charitamrita principles. It's all very clear in these books. And when you worship the Lord, like Prabhupada did in ecstasy, these things all get cleared up. Okay? And that's what you teach. That's what he taught. He taught essentially to help clear up the anarthas, what they are, and to help the devotees make progress. But what we see is they really need help. And like Prabhupada said, at a certain point, Krishna will empower and raise up an acharya. That's what happened with him. Bhaktisiddhanta said, at some point, Krishna will do everything through him. And that's what we should be looking for in movement and going deeper in Krishna consciousness, is where has Krishna raised up an acharya, and where you really can understand Prabhupada even better than you did before. I mean, to be open to that. I mean, to think that you already know Prabhupada, it's all about just doing rules and regulations and ceremonies. Well, that's good enough for you. It's not good enough for me, never was. And it's not good enough for people that are coming here. They want something deeper. So I teach the deeper. I was ordered by Prabhupada in that lucid dream in 1996 to teach deeper, because I was understanding deeper. Why is that? Bhagavad Gita 10:10. That's why we teach this verse over and over again. After 50 years after Prabhupada left, practically nobody understands that verse. Bhagavad Gita 10:10. So I repeat it practically every day. To those who worship Krishna with loving ecstasy, see, loving ecstasy is in the word for word, and in the translation, it's love. Okay? But to get a clear picture, you need to see loving ecstasy. I give them the understanding of how to come to me. I give them real knowledge. See, in the word for word, it says real knowledge. It's different than studying and memorizing verses. See, so it's just like in Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishna taught that through that verse, chapter 1 on the spiritual master. He became Raganuga Bhakta, even though he's Krishna. He saw Radharani's love for him. And as a matter of fact, I'll read the verse. It's a great verse. Let's see here. Yeah. Krishna. It's one of my favorite verses. I have a lot of favorite verses, by the way. Yeah. Okay, so Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 1 on the spiritual master. So Prabhupada is known to say that this Chaitanya Charitamrita is postgraduate because it tells you the essence of what is a spiritual master, what is Diksha Guru, what is Shiksha Guru. And they're both transcendental. All of this is explained in here, but they don't explain it in ISKCON or anywhere else because none of the gurus I've seen I would consider really transcendental beyond liberation. Some I've seen maybe have some liberation level, but not this deep, deep level. And so anyway, Prabhupada came to me because naturally I was worshiping the Lord in loving ecstasy for years. And then he came, he says, okay, now you share these teachings as my approval. So he said, exactly, you're doing exactly what I want you to do. You know, this has my full approval, what you're doing, and I was teaching these things. You do more of this, see? And so people can attest to say, yeah, you know, we're understanding Prabhupada and devotional service so much deeper now. So it's working. Yeah. Okay, so Adi Lila, chapter 1. It's a great verse. I love this verse so much. Yeah. That's what you got to do. You have to love these verses. They have to be your life and soul. Then you'll start to understand Radha, and then you understand Krishna also. But if you don't really love these verses, I mean, literally love them, where you feel they're enliven your soul, then you don't have Bhakti Lata Bij yet. Many of these gurus don't really have Bhakti Lata Bij. So they're just putting on a show. And they need to know that at some time, or at least their disciples need to know that. Otherwise, they're blocking the way into the kingdom, just like Jesus saw the same thing. All gurus see the same thing. Prabhupada saw his godbrothers were blocking the way to get deeper into the kingdom because they weren't qualified to be acharyas. We all know that. I mean, you can do a search, Prabhupada and his godbrothers, and see exactly what he said about the godbrothers. Actually, none of them are qualified to be acharya, and they're all acharyas now after he leaves. Who's going to defend him? Well, I will, because he's right. You know, it's true what he said. And all these other persons that became acharyas, at least in their own mind and in the minds of others, but not on the actual transcendental platform, they said the same. They said the opposite of Prabhupada. Like Narayan Raj, he said, actually, all these persons are qualified like Prabhupada. I was sitting there listening to all these things. Yeah. And so that's just what happens when you speculate and you don't see like a really transcendental personality. So I can relate to this woman who says, you know, she's been struggling to hold on, and her struggle to hold on to a pure devotee, even if they depart, because you're always going to be more or less misled by others who are not on the same platform, and they take a position like spiritual master, and you have to go through them to get to Vrindavan. That's called idolatry, idol worship. You're going through a mundane person who's not attained the transcendental platform to get into a spiritual place. It never worked and never will work. You have to find the empowered devotee. Empowered with what? Pure love of God. Really, the same love of God Prabhupada had. That's Shiksha Guru. That's taught in chapter 1. I teach that. You know what they teach in ISKCON? They teach a checklist. They pull up a checklist and say, this is your bona fide guru. And none of it is in the chapter 1 on the spiritual master. See, so you're being fooled. You're being illusioned. This is speculation. So if anybody wants to go deeper, you need to understand these things. And Krishna will raise up an acharya who is empowered with pure devotional love of God. And they're the only ones who really understand these things. Otherwise, nobody really does. So here's the verse. It's a beautiful verse. I love this verse so much. Uh, The loving affair. No, that's a good one too. There's so many good ones in this chapter here. Desiring, here we go. Desiring to understand the glories of Radharani's love and the wonderful happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love. So Krishna's looking at her love. He's looking, wow, look at Radharani's love. Look at the wonderful qualities she can relish in me by the strength of that love. See, that loving ecstasy is Bhagavad Gita 10:10. See, it's pure. It's there's no material motive. It's not like Radharani wants to be a guru or something. She's not a wannabe. She just loves Krishna because of the strength of her natural love for Krishna. She knows so many wonderful things about him that nobody else does. She alone relishes through her love. See, she alone relishes. And that's what it comes. That's called transcendental mellows. That's what Krishna consciousness is all about. That's where it's all leading to. It's not meant to stop at Varnashram Dharma. That's always been. That's religion. Yeah, Lord Caitanya and Madhya Lila even said when Ramananda Roy said, well, Lord Caitanya inquired. He said, what is the goal of life and what is the means to attain it? And Ramananda started this conversation, Varnashram Dharma. See, like Prabhupada started this conversation, started his teaching. Varnashram Dharma. By doing this, you'll attain all the perfection of life. So what has happened when a person's ready for more, they start to inquire, like Lord Caitanya. Lord Caitanya said, that's external bhakti. Tell me something deeper, something more. You can all check this. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So you have to ask yourself a question. Do you want to know more about Krishna, or are you satisfied with just Varnashram Dharma and doing the ceremonies and following these gurus who are not really transcendental? Not even one. There ain't one of them. At least the ones I met. Prove it, they can come. Show us that you can chant the holy name with great loving ecstasy. Show us you can chant at least as some of my disciples do. That that you have the symptoms of prema, that you are empowered to awaken this prema in others. See, that's guru. That's the real guru. Now, Prabhupada didn't teach at that level. It wasn't time. It was the first preliminaries. Teach people who have no good character and are all on drugs and everything. Teach them the basics about Krishna and all that. So now this is the progressive teaching to go deeper. Yeah, so Lord Caitanya said, Ramananda, that's external bhakti. Tell me something deeper. And he went all these different steps, all the way to not the final step, but the step from where we preach. See? And that is when one gives up this liberation thing, because there are a lot of Vaishnavas, if they attain something, usually it might be liberation, but they think that's it. And they basically, stop there. But they don't know they stop. They believe they're not really clear about their devotional. What happened here? Yeah, I got to change the speaker system. Okay. Check my audio devices. Okay, here we go. I'm checking the audio devices. Test the microphone. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Oh, that's not. Let's see here. Okay. Samson. Okay. All right, there we go. I think we got it now. Okay. Yeah, so Radharani says, or Krishna says, let's pull the verse up again. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love and the wonderful qualities in him that she relishes through her love. See? So in other words, you cannot understand Krishna until you have really pure love of God awakened in you. Okay? And that's what they call in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, is where we teach from, is the Bhakti Lata Bij. See, Bhakti Lata Bij gives you that attraction. Starts like Jesus said, like a small mustard seed, but you become attracted to hearing these topics from Guru, from a real Guru. You know, and it clears off your speculations. You get a clear beat on the path. It wipes all the speculation from that checklist you hear in ISKCON and all this stuff. That's not the real. They're not real gurus in that sense. I mean, if you're interested in finding real guru, means, especially now, is they're the door to Vrindavan. This we teach like Lord Caitanya taught. He said things like, yes, it is correct. Those who awaken devotion to Krishna are certainly the spiritual master. Devotion to Krishna is prema. And certainly the spiritual master, if you're empowered to do that. Otherwise, you're not the spiritual master, not really. You're not clear about your own position. So that you can check people out here. People can come here. It's an open book. You can come here and you can see if people have attained devotion to Krishna, prema. And then you look in the book and say, well, yeah, it's actually described in a book, not described in the checklist, because they don't have that. They're not qualified to awaken devotion to Krishna. All right, let's see how this is going over here on Facebook. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Krishna was desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, you know, because it was so wonderful, it was so glorious, that because of that love, she could understand him even better than he could understand himself, because of the strength of Radha's love. That's why he's always desiring it. Actually, Raganuga Bhakti is basically that. Is you see a devotee worshiping Krishna in great intimacy and ecstasy, and you think, oh boy, I would also like to understand the glory of that love. See, you become like a little Christian that way. But if you don't desire that, if you see that love, that's how the Lord propagated this ecstatic worship, is he showed the public. He showed the public, and many people, not everybody, but many people came and said, oh, wow, how great. We would also like to worship like this. And then he would teach them. You know, he would give them the potency because of their faith and his faith in him, his word. Matter of fact, he said, if people don't accept me, they will be destroyed. These are all words from these books that nobody can explain, that I heard. Yeah. Well, why would they be destroyed? Well, you take another birth, you're destroyed in that sense. But devotees who have this special love, this ecstatic devotion, don't take another birth. They're promoted to the kingdom of God. See, where is that Gohari does? Well, Brahma said it in the Bhagavatam. Those who have the symptoms of ecstasy, tears in the eyes, hair to standing on end, etc., those kind of symptoms that many devotees are appearing in the bodies and the emotional states of the devotees here, they're promoted to the kingdom of God. They don't come back. How many of those gurus are making disciples like that? See? If you're empowered by the transcendental potency, you will. No, there's no excuse not to. If you're really, you know, this is basically why Prabhupada came to me. I was worshiping in ecstasy like that for years. And then he came and said, no, yeah, this is great. Share it with others, which I was already doing. They were coming automatically and I would just share, and they were becoming ecstatic. Yeah. Krishna came to my second disciple and gave her darshan. Yeah, for real. Yeah, so that's where it's all going. And if you're greedy, this is path taught by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Raghunuga Bhakti, and Rag Vartma Chandrika talks about if you have spiritual greed, when this path is presented and you see devotees who are knowledgeable of it, and they have the ecstasy and they have the intimate understanding of it, and you take to their association, then you can enter Vrindavan in this life. And all these people doing the Vaidhi path will just, they get in eventually, but after many lifetimes. Like Naraimra said, oh, prema, oh, many lifetimes before you get prema. Well, people are getting prema here. Why? Because we know about the mercy of Lord Caitanya. That mercy of Lord Caitanya is flowing here. So therefore, that result is here. But if you don't believe it, if people don't believe it, and they stay with their ideas, I mean, why would you not believe this? Say you're that disciple of Prabhupada, this lady. Nice, sounds like a nice lady. She's holding on, right? Holding on. Okay, so you're holding on to Prabhupada, and this teaching comes along, and you reject it. You think, oh, no, I'm just going to stay with Prabhupada only. I'm not going to learn anything deeper. Now, is that smart? Well, you come here, anybody comes here for a time, come here for 30 days, come regularly, and then you can evaluate here. You not be a blind believer. You come here and evaluate. Are you learning more about Prabhupada? Are you learning more about Bhakti Yoga? Are you learning the real Chaitanya Leela? Are you learning where it's all going? What is what is the purpose of Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat? The people can evaluate. But if you just, like a lot of people, they're stubborn, and probably, a lot of people, they're just stubborn. They just, I'm with Prabhupada, I'm a Ritvik, I don't want to learn, I just know so much. Well, fine, Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and Prabhupada will send who he wants to send. Yeah. So, a bit sick here. Flu. Any questions? I'll look on Facebook, see if there are any comments or questions. Yeah. Yeah. Everything is mixed up here. I just got this thing, Biden, wants to give gender mutilation. Everything is screwy now, and this is by the order of God. Everything is. This helps people understand that you got to lose faith in Maya. You got to lose faith in religion, ultimately. Religion may have helped you get to a certain point, but you have to understand these verses. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender to Krishna. Well, that's what we teach here. We teach how to surrender to the truth. If you're still on level of speculation, you're teaching speculation ideas about Guru Tattva, and you're not really the real guru, but you put on a show that you're the real guru, well, then people will not understand. See, because you're not authentic. That's why I encourage people to come for a while so they can see what people are sharing here is because of their ecstatic worship of the Lord. That's how you get clear about what is Krishna consciousness. If you don't worship the Lord in ecstasy, then you're not going to be clear about Krishna consciousness. You got to understand why Krishna said, he said, wow, look how much Radharani understands me and appreciates my qualities because of the strength of her love. That's why, and so if you don't have that devotion, and I think it's fair to say most people don't, then the process is you go to somebody that has, and then if you're lucky, they teach you the intimate understanding of Krishna consciousness, which we do. and then very quickly you attain Vrindavan consciousness. Very quickly you're worshiping the Lord in ecstatic devotion. Okay, yeah, so I have to stop, man, because my body is not feeling good. So this was a bit of an experiment to see if I can get this to work. Yeah. So if you can, become a follower on this Zoom here. Like even when I'm off, you can maybe click on the link and see, maybe you can become a follower and follow this thing. And then I can invite you also, invited here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. We'll end it here now. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Let's see, how do I do that?